people watching YouTube gonna catch up here with the second night results of WrestleMania 42. So we are past the biggest show of them all, and yesterday I was very optimistic. There was my reaction and my thoughts and results in the video on the channel, and today we're going to focus on the night 2, which has, I would say, more questions than answers, but they all kind of line up to what I've been saying in my predictions, which you can check here. There should be a link above. And as usual, if you're watching this first, please watch the show, because after I remove this image, we will talk about the results. So make sure you know them beforehand. Therefore, 3, 2, 1, final warning, and let's do it. Here are the results with the time of the matches. How long did they take? And let's go through them one by one. And let's start with the opener. It's over for me and Brock Lesnar. That was weird. So I get where the story is going, and I guess I know how it's gonna end, and even I know when it's gonna end. But the way they put it, I kinda don't know. And my problem is that they kinda, how should I even say it? Agree that Brock deserved this moment, but in story-wise, especially considering all the stuff happening with Heyman at the moment, I'm unsure this is the way I want it to be. However, I agree that for Brock, it's probably the most correct way to use him, right? So before he goes away. But I'm unsure if he couldn't make, instead of 5 minutes, and I'll make 10 minutes and actually put on a fight. But on the other hand, it's Brock. We all know how Brock Lesnar is in the ring, in the locker room, etc., etc. So it really felt a bit like he wanted just to get this over with and just go and celebrate his final WrestleMania moment. And again, tying back to the victory over Seth Rollins by Gunther, it all now makes sense. So I would bet my money that at SummerSlam, Gunther will, let's say, catch in his favor. He asked Paul, and Paul will bring back a monster for like one final match, and the favor will be that basically Brock gets out of retirement and has a match against Gunther. I'm not sure if it's a good idea, I'm gonna be honest, because I'm not sure if comparing, let's say, to AJ Styles, to John Cena even, I'm not sure that victory over Brock is a good thing for Gunther. Of course, we'll talk about it more when we are making our SummerSlam prediction somewhere down the year line. But yeah, this felt like, yes, you deserved it, but you could do it way better. And yeah, we'll see how it's gonna turn out. But for now, I really think the biggest winner here is over for me, obviously. But how should I put it? The question is what this victory is gonna bring to Oba, because he's the big giant, the big strong figure, like basically like Brock was, and we all know that if we put away the initial wish of Undertaker that Brock is the one to retire him, you realize that in theory, victory and conquering the streak did kind of nothing for Brock. He was a superstar anyway. He was a demolisher anyway. So what could they even do with this achievement? And here it's kind of the same stuff. So next we had the beautiful ladder match, and I must say props to all 6 guys of the. I would say that Penta's victory is good. I wanted Ray to win, but there were amazing spots. The power driver on the ladder from Penta to JD Masterclass, and the Rusev spots. That's really match I had the most important hopes on, and I would say the deliver. And we'll see how they will again continue with this title. So what's next for Penta? But this match did its job well. And that's actually super important. And if I would recommend any of these matches for you to watch, this is definitely one of them. Second being main event. And we'll get to that in a second. Up next, we had the match between Trick Williams and Sami Zayn. This match, how should I put it? My problem with this match is similar to my problem with the Randy and Cody match. Like, you had a certain heel, right? Like, you had an interference from almost like nobody in the wrestling, right? I'm talking about early on here. However, the crowd still cheered the guy. The crowd still cheered for him to win. And this is the problem. Like, wrestling should tell the story about heels and faces. It cannot, there aren't even winners. Right? So you may say, oh, he's a winner because he is about like and he no, that's not how it works. And for example, you had a tweener in, let's say, Joker's thing could just work out, smash everyone with a baseball bat, but still get cheered. But here, I think the WWE need to go back to the roots and to be more strict in these role assignments and maybe not even assign the roles themselves, but to see how they interact with let's say, audience, and maybe even go with it as they during the match. And I guess then it will be way better. But for now, it is as it is. And Trick deserved it. I said I want to totally rebranded Sami Zayn. And I thought he will turn heel here, but no, we got kind of typical heel victory for the new champion, and I'm not against it. And what I want to say is that if we compare it, for example, to case with the previous celebrity usages, like, what was his name? Travis Scott. My God, I forgot it. Like, if we compare this to Travis Scott's usage, finally they did it Lil Yachty well. So Lil Yachty did exactly what he had to do. He did an amazing announcement. He made an amazing announcement job. He interacted in the match as he should. And this didn't feel so, let's say, out of the picture. This is what I really liked, is that I didn't feel Yachty's presence as, let's say, foreign object here. Right? So he truly was well in his role, and I would say he made some sort of a good appearance altogether. And as I said, I really want to repack final Sami Zayn. Therefore, his loss, I would say, it should be the first step to get him in the better angles, better storylines. Up next, we had the street fight with Dom and Finn. Obviously, it was clear from the start what's gonna happen. And funny enough, I was totally wrong about the whole Judgment Day thing. I thought there should be some interference. I thought there should be someone coming in, like King, one or the other person, but in the end, they did nothing. And I'm not sure if it's a good or a bad idea. We'll have to see what's next. For Finn, for Dom, for Judgment Day. Maybe they could even put the AAA title on the line, because I guess for Finn to go to AAA to have some matches, that would be awesome. But, it is how it is. The match was nice. It was kind of cool. I thought it would be more like ladders, so it's gonna go more TLC style. Besides, you had the other ladders from the Penta match, so you could just leave a couple. Yeah, but I'm unsure whether this is the end for both Finn and Dom in terms of their storyline, so we'll have to wait and see what's in store for them. Up next, we had the Rhea and Jade. Good match. The interferences were great-ish. They were expected, you know. This is the case when you knew there will be, you knew that Mitchin and what was the second one? Writing comments that they will interfere. But in the end, it really deserves it, right? And we talked about it a lot in the prediction video that this is how this should end. And I guess the backlash will have finally Io versus, let's say, Rhea. Maybe then it'll be a good point to turn Io heel again, but that's up for discussion. And next, before we go to main event, I need to give a shout out to Danhausen. That was just hilarious. And I really like that they got John involved here. That's typical, host stuff, especially considering how much did John do for the whole Make-A-Wish Foundation, etc., etc. So this segment was, really awesome, although a bunch of not so tall people beating down Kit Wilson did look weird. And then bringing Miss Away looked even weirder. But what else would you expect for Danhausen to do? You realize that he should have been part of WrestleMania anyway. Right now, it's the best time to, farm the attention drawn to Danhausen, and I guess they did it the best possible way they could. Of course, I feel a bit sorry for the Miz, but I have a feeling that Miz is the type of guy who realizes that this is his prime side he can show at the moment. I doubt someone is interested in seeing Miz as the next world champion. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. I said that if you take him, take the Miz right here, right now, it's kind of hard to rebuild him in, one pay-per-view time to compete against, Roman Reigns. It's just impossible. But for such segments, he's a true genius, and he does it so good that it just makes you smile. One last thing before we go to main event. I'm not gonna lie, when I watched the first match, when we had Brock and over, and when Brock did his farewell, I really thought Heyman is gonna betray him right here. But apparently we'll have to wait until SummerSlam. So there's that. Actually, if you say all together, I guess there weren't so many surprises. I know the biggest, let's say, surprise pay-per-view usually is the Royal Rumble. But still, we will talk about it in a bit. Let's first talk about the main event. And where should I start? Where should I start with Punk and Roman? This is a tough one. It's tough for the reason that I did realize that Roman should win. I knew it, I felt it, and my problem was that, as you can see, the match went for almost half an hour. With the whole advertisements etc., which were over the top of the entire show. When I looked how much time is remaining, it was around 1 hour. And the entire show was like 3.5. You know, so when I looked, I saw that I have almost a third of the show or a quarter just for the main event. And this did make me a bit nervous. And my nerves were correct for the reason that when I saw the acting, or should I say the exchange of finishers, etc., when I saw the blood and so on, it was around 10 minutes or so into the match. So not at the end, it was like we have almost half an hour to go with all the closing shots, etc. I realized, man, he will just lose. I was so sure already that Punk was gonna lose that it killed entire intrigue for the last 20 to 30 minutes. And I was sitting, where's my camera? Sitting like this, Jesus, just end it already. I know who wins. It's obvious. And that's the problem. That's a huge problem with such matches. That if you oversell, not even oversell, if you overemphasize something, you're just giving out the information beforehand. And while the match is amazing, while the synergy was kind of there, while there were these dumb low blows, throwing the tape from the arms, etc., etc., it was an amazing match. But it just was not backed as a one. Maybe it's just my own feeling, but I didn't feel this nerve, as I just said. And that's sad. Actually, that's how even should I say it? This comes down not only to night 2, this will be more like entirety of the show that I want to sum up. And that's, I did expect many of things that happened to happen. And you can see that even if you check my previous predictions. I predicted more or less many of the matches correct. But that's both good and a bad thing. And it's good that he can brag that he realized how WWE works. But as a consumer, as a person who watches and truly cares about results, about storylines, the person who actually watches wrestling since he was a small kid, who actually did a lot like news translation, a lot of like digging into the stories. I truly feel that it's bad simply because they were failing to not to surprise me, but to exceed the expectations. And you can say, of course, like, well, who am I? Of course, expectations should be exceeded, but it would be a good thing for almost any pay-per-view on there. It would be even good for the remaining two, which I didn't mention, pay-per-views of the big four. That we have the Royal Rumble, we have WrestleMania, we have SummerSlam, and we have, I guess, Survivor Series. And both SummerSlam and Survivor Series are kinda okay to be predictable. And Royal Rumble, on the other hand, is the main outpost for all the surprises. But WrestleMania, which should be the peak of the entire season, entire year of WWE, it should outperform them all. And this is what, in my opinion, WrestleMania 42 failed to deliver. They failed to act as the best of the best of the best the company has to offer here and now. We'll see what's gonna go on today on Raw, but you know, to finish off the video, my entire thoughts on the WrestleMania both days, I will tell you this. Usually, when you look at WrestleMania weekend, the biggest surprise that you can have is the question, what are you expecting on the first Raw after? And when I look at it now, what can I say? I'm ready to hear Cody bragging that he overcome. But then again, with all the story which happened yesterday, they can have another match at Backlash. We can have Becky and AJ with another match, probably again at Backlash, without the Sternbuckle thing. We have no idea what's gonna happen with Vision. We have no idea what's next for the Judgment Day, but there's nothing, and truly nothing. Well, I think about today's Raw, which is gonna be like 14 hours, where I can sit down and say, damn, I wonder what this person has to say. And all it remains is to wish that WWE does its best and starts the season the right way. And we'll see that very soon. But for now, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. If you watch it all, please leave a like, write a comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitch. It really helps to make these videos going forward. And we'll be back with our regular schedule starting next week. But for now, thank you and have a great day.